Hi everybody, welcome to our 7.1 online lesson. We're looking now still at equations of straight lines, and we're going to look at slope-intercept form, which is a specific way to write the equation of a straight line graph. And we need to know how to do that, and we also need to know what the different symbols mean. So a common way to write an equation, a very common way, is to use this slope-intercept form. It's called slope-intercept because it shows the slope. And we give this letter M. We let M represent slope when we're writing slope-intercept form. Okay, M means slope. So the equation, the way we write it, shows the slope. It also shows the intercept, which means the y-intercept. And the y-intercept, we give it a letter B. Okay, this is just a way of us in our equation referring to the y-intercept. We don't want to call it x or y because x or y are already reserved for values of x and y from the graph. So B just means slope, y-intercept, and M means slope. Okay, so here, this is slope-intercept form. It's written this way. Y is always by itself on the left-hand side of the equal sign because y is the dependent variable. So y is equal to some number, okay? And that number will represent the slope. So in slope-intercept form, we say y is equal to mx. M represents slope here. Okay, this is your slope. In other words, that's your rise over your run. It's the change in y over the change in x. So this is going to be a number, and that number that I see, if I am given an equation, is telling me, okay, that number attached to the x is my slope. Y equals mx plus b. This value right here is the y-intercept. So this is some point on the graph that has a 0 value for x. So it's the point where the straight line crosses the y-axis. So it will be 0 for x and some number, which we'll say b, okay, for y. And again, that's going to be a number unless the graph crosses the y-axis at 0, 0, in which case b will be 0 and it'll get dropped. Okay, but otherwise, every time I see a number at the end, I know that is the value on the y-axis where the line crosses. Okay, that's called the y-intercept. So here I've got b is the y-intercept. If you look down here, okay, m is the slope. With the y-intercept, this is going to be a point, okay? 0, some value for y on the line, okay, where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay, another way to think of that is the y-axis, okay, runs through x equals 0. Everywhere along the y-axis, x is equal to 0. So, okay, the y-intercept is the value for y, okay, when x equals 0. In other words, what is f of 0? If I put in a 0 for x, then my mx will cancel and I'll just be left with y equals some number. And that number, b, is my y-intercept. Okay, it's really straightforward. Let's do some real examples so you can get an idea here. Okay. So here we have a graph. The first thing I want to do is just define what the y-intercept is. So if you don't have the equation, and you can't substitute in a 0 for x, you can look at your graph and you're looking at the y-axis. Here's the y-axis. It's the vertical axis that runs up and down. And our graph of our line is the green line. We're looking for where does that green line cross that y-axis? Well, it crosses right here. Okay, that is b. Okay, b is equal to 2. In other words, the y-intercept is the point 0 for x, because it's right at 0 for x right here. Sorry, x is 0. Okay, and 2 for y. So that's the point. Okay, b is equal to 2. So it's very easy. If I'm given a graph, I can just look for where it crosses the axis. That point right there is my y-intercept. So I don't know the rest of, I could figure out my slope, but what I know right now is that my equation of the line, okay, so far, I could write this. Y is equal to mx plus 2, because that's my b. Okay, y equals mx plus b. I can now put in a 2 for my b. And the next thing I would have to do is go ahead and find the slope. And then once I knew the slope, I could put that value in for m and I'd be finished. Okay, let's go ahead and do some now where we're going to do both the slope and also the y-intercept. Okay, so write the equation for this line in slope-intercept form. You should always start these questions off by using the formula for slope-intercept form, which is y is equal to mx plus b. Okay, that's our starting point. The only things that you're substituting into this formula are the values for the slope and the value for the y-intercept. The y and the x stays in the formula because we could pick any point for x, and then we would substitute that value in and figure out what y is. So y and x have to stay as y and x. We're just looking for the slope and the b value. So let's go ahead first and find b, because it's really easy. Let's find our y-intercept. So we're looking at our graph, and we're looking for where this graph crosses the y-axis. Here is the y-axis right here, running vertically. Okay, so it crosses right here at 1. Y is equal to 1 at that point where it crosses. So that is my y-intercept. B is equal to 1. This is the point, 0 for x and 1 for y. Okay, there's my y-intercept right there. So let's come on over here. So b is equal to 1. I'm going to put in a 1 for my b now. Okay, the second thing I have to do is find the slope. So I'm looking for m. How am I going to look for it? Well, I have to pick 2 points on my line, and I have to find the rise, and I have to find the run, and I'm going to write the rise over the run to figure out my slope. So you can also use the slope formula, but I'm going to encourage you to use this method because it is fast. So let's go ahead and pick our 2 points. I'm going to pick them in using a green pen here. And any 2 points on this line are fine as long as you can clearly see the coordinates. So look for 2 points that are on a grid line. So for example, this point here is a good one. And you could use the B point. That's a good point as well. So you could use the point 0, 1. You could also use this point up here. That's also a really good point to use. It's right on the point 2, 5. Okay, let's go ahead and use these points. So I'm going to calculate my rise. So from left to right, I say, okay, I have to go up and then over. So I'm going to go up how many? Let's see. To go from 3 to 5, I have to go up 2. So my rise equals positive 2. So let's put that in. Okay, and then I have to go over how many? Well, from this bottom point to the top point, I just have to go over 1. Okay, from 1 to 2 on my x. Okay, so my run is equal to 1. Because I'm at 1, and I have to go to 2. Okay, so my run is 1. That was easy. Okay, so let's simplify that slope. You can leave it as 2 over 1. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but we could also write that as 2, and that's fine as well. So m is equal to 2. Okay, so my final answer is that the equation for this line is going to be y equals, I'm going to put in a 2 for my slope, so 2x instead of mx plus 1 for b. All right, so there's my slope, that's my m, and there's my b. Okay, and that's my final answer. So the equation of this line is y equals 2x plus 1. Let's go ahead and do another example. Okay, write the equation for this line in slope-intercept form. One thing that I am not given here, but I should be given, okay. Let's allow each division on the x and on the y-axis to equal 1. Okay, so in other words, let's just go ahead. We could fill these out. So on the x-axis, the center is 0, 0. Okay, so this first one here, that's 1. Okay, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, back here, this is negative 1, negative 2. Okay, and then there we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then again in the negative direction it would be the same. Okay, so we could put a couple points in there. So there's negative 1, negative 2. So just there's no markings on these x and y axes, so let's just assume each box equals 1. Okay, and I want to again start by figuring out, well, I need to, if I'm going to write in slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So I need to find m and I need to find b. So step 1, let's find our y-intercept. Let's find b. I'm looking for where the line crosses the y-axis, and it crosses right here. That's where my line crosses. So b equals 2, because that's the point, 0 for x, 2 for y. Step 2, I'm going to find the slope. Okay, so m is equal to the rise over the run, and you're going to pick 2 points from your graph that are easy to read. Okay, so you have to pick 2 points. Let's go ahead and let's use this one point that we've already picked because it's got clear coordinates. It's 0, 2. And let's go ahead and pick another point. Let's pick this point down here. It looks nice and easy. Okay, so we're gonna read from left to right. So we say, how many do I have to go down and how many do I have to go over? So the rise this time will be going down. Okay, how many? Down 2. So the rise will be negative 2 because I have to go down 2. So negative 2 is the rise, and the run, well, I have to go all the way over from 0 to 4. So if I count my boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's positive because I'm going in a positive direction for x. My run is positive. So the run is equal to positive 4. So I get negative 2 over 4. I can reduce that fraction to negative 1 over 2 because 2/4 can reduce to 1/2, and that's my slope. That's my answer. So here we go. Okay, the equation of the line in slope-intercept form is y equals m, which is negative 1/2, okay, x plus b, and b is 2. There's my answer. So you're substituting in your slope for m and your y-intercept for b. Okay. I'm going to just stop the video right here, and I'm going to continue in another quick video only because I can only go to 15 minutes right now for YouTube. So I'm going to get you to just pause right now and then just watch the next video to finish up our last couple of examples. Okay?